My beloved child, listen with your spirit and not just your ears, because what is being released right now is not ordinary, and it is not meant for everyone. God permitted Archangel Michael to speak once before midnight, and this permission was not given lightly. Heaven does not interrupt time without reason. Something has shifted quietly, something irreversible, and it is already moving toward permanence. This is not loud. There will be no chaos in the streets, no warning signs in the sky. Yet once it settles, nothing will be able to undo it. Hear this carefully. What is coming does not announce itself. It does not ask for attention. It simply arrives and locks into place. That is why Archangel Michael hath been sent with urgency, not fear but precision. This message found you because your spirit can perceive what others will completely miss. Many will scroll past moments like this and later wonder why doors closed without explanation. You are here because heaven marked you as aware. Beloved one, Archangel Michael stands as the guardian of thresholds. When God allows him to speak, it is always at a crossing point. Midnight is not just a time, it is a boundary. One day ends, another begins, and whatever crosses that line determines the season ahead. What is approaching your life is not temporary. It is naivete. It is a setting. Once it clicks into position, it becomes the new normal. This is why the message says it is permanent. You may feel it already. A subtle pressure, a sense that something is concluding without drama. Conversations changing, desire shifting, certain people becoming distant without conflict. This is not loss. This is alignment. Archangel Michael is revealing that God is closing something quietly so that it cannot be reopened by doubt, delay, or distraction. Now hear this clearly, because this is where many misunderstand. The 1111 portal is not a number to admire. It is a responsibility to step into. It represents divine alignment between heaven's timing and human obedience. For one standing upright, like pillars, forming a gate. Only those who stand straight in faith can pass through it. This portal does not respond to panic. It responds to readiness. Archangel Michael says many are praying loudly, but very few are positioning correctly. What is coming will not respond to emotional reactions. It will respond to spiritual posture. That is why the shift is quiet. A noise would attract the unprepared. Silence filters only the attentive. If you are still here listening, your spirit is already leaning forward. That is not accidental. Beloved child, ignoring this message does not stop what is coming. It only determines whether you experience it as covering or collision. God is non-threatening. He is warning in mercy. When heaven sends a message before midnight, it is an invitation to adjust before the clock seals the moment. Archangel Michael wants you to understand this. Permanence is not always punishment. Sometimes permanence is protection. God is fixing something in place so it cannot be stolen, delayed, or reversed. But permanence also means what you refuse to release cannot follow you. This is why the warning feels heavy, not because something bad is coming, but because something incompatible cannot cross with you. Ask yourself this quietly. What have you been postponing obedience on? What inner nudge have you been rationalizing away? The 1111 portal does not open for those who wait to feel ready. It opens for those who move while trusting God to steady them mid-step. Archangel Michael stands with his sword lowered, not raised. This is not a battle announcement. This is a border patrol moment. He is checking alignment, not fighting enemies. He is watching who is willing to stand where heaven is opening. You were not meant to stumble into the next season. You were meant to enter upright. What is permanent will favor those who choose correctly now. Relationships will settle into their true form. Callings will solidify. Confusion will no longer have room to negotiate. This is why the message feels urgent but calm. Heaven is not rushing. Time is simply catching up. Beloved one, do not look for signs in the noise of the world. Look inward. The confirmation you are waiting for is already stirring in your spirit. That quiet knowing is the signal. That pause before distraction is the invitation. Archangel Michael says this once, and only once, because repetition would cheapen the moment. The door is open now. Not later. Not after more thinking. Now. The 1111 alignment requires agreement, not perfection. Stay present. Stay aware. What follows next will clarify what your spirit already suspects, but your mind has been avoiding. My precious one, there is a reason this message did not come with noise, because heaven is dealing with foundations now, not appearances. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that what feels subtle is actually decisive. God is not rearranging surface details. He is resetting the structure underneath your life. That is why old patterns feel uncomfortable, even when nothing dramatic has happened. When foundations shift, everything resting on them must either realign or move away. You may notice that certain things no longer excite you the way they once did. The hunger has changed. The tolerance has decreased. What you once accepted easily now feels heavy. This is not confusion. This is clarity arriving quietly. Archangel Michael says when God prepares permanence, he first removes your appetite for what cannot remain. This is mercy, not loss. Hear this carefully. The 1111 portal does not open randomly. It opens when heaven and earth briefly agree on timing. God is saying, now is the moment when delay becomes disobedience. Not because you are in danger, but because opportunity has an expiration. What is forming around you will settle with or without your participation. The difference is whether you are positioned inside the covering or left adjusting afterward. Archangel Michael is revealing that many people around you are being sorted by alignment, not intention. Good intentions are no longer enough in this season. Sincerity without obedience cannot cross this threshold. This is why some relationships will not survive the quiet shift. It is not about betrayal. It is about incompatibility with where God is anchoring you next. Beloved child, permanence requires pruning. God cannot lock in what is still tangled. You may feel like you are being asked to simplify, to choose clarity over comfort, truth over familiarity. That inner resistance you feel is not fear. It is the old season trying to negotiate for more time. But heaven is not negotiating right now. Heaven is finalizing. Archangel Michael says this moment will test who listens inwardly versus who waits for external validation. Signs will be minimal. Affirmations will be rare. The assurance will come as peace that makes no logical sense. If you are waiting for everyone to understand your next move, you will miss the timing entirely. The 1111 alignment requires personal agreement with God, not group consensus. Now listen closely. This message is not only revelation, it is responsibility. If this word is resonating with you, do not keep it private. When you like this video, when you share it, when you comment, you are not supporting a channel. You are signaling agreement with heaven. Your interaction pushes this message toward others who are standing at the same threshold but do not yet have language for what they are sensing. Subscribe to this space if your spirit feels anchored here, because messages like this are not released casually. They are released when timing matters. Joining the community, engaging with the message, and staying connected keeps you positioned to hear clearly as the season continues to unfold. This is how alignment stays active. Archangel Michael emphasizes that obedience is often expressed through simple actions taken seriously. Do not underestimate the spiritual weight of responding when God nudges you. Commenting, sharing, and engaging is a declaration that you are not passive in this season. You are participating. Beloved one, do not let distractions steal what discernment has revealed. The enemy of permanence is procrastination disguised as patience. There is a difference. Patience waits on God. Procrastination waits on comfort. The 1111 portal does not stay open for indecision. It responds to movement, even if that movement feels small. You may be wondering why this feels so personal. It is because Archangel Michael is not speaking to crowds right now. He is speaking to individuals. God is sealing assignments privately before they become visible publicly. What is forming now will later appear effortless to others, but you will know it required precision, courage, and quiet obedience. There is something else you must understand. Once this settles, you will not need to prove yourself anymore. Permanence removes the need for constant explanation. God is stabilizing your identity so that external opinions lose their power. This is why this moment feels weighty. Identity is being anchored, not explored. Stay attentive. What comes next will connect pieces you did not realize were related. This is where the message deepens, and you will want to be fully present for it. My dear one, pause for a moment and let this settle deeply, because Archangel Michael is now revealing the reason heaven chose silence over spectacle. What God is establishing in your life cannot be shaken once it is set, and that is why it is being formed away from noise, away from opinions, away from premature exposure. Loud beginnings attract interference. Quiet beginnings attract authority. This is not the season where God explains himself to observers. This is the season where he confirms himself to the chosen. Archangel Michael says permanence is heaven's signature. When God marks something permanent, he removes the option of retreat. This is why you may feel an internal seriousness that was not there before. Not heaviness, but gravity. You are sensing weight because destiny is being grounded. This is not about doing more. It is about standing correctly. There is something important you must understand now. The 1111 portal is not opening to bring chaos into your life. It is opening to end it. But chaos does not always leave quietly. It resists through doubt, through overthinking, through familiar fears that whisper, "What if you are wrong?" Archangel Michael wants you to know that hesitation at this point does not protect you. It only delays your relief. Beloved child, heaven has already observed your endurance. God has seen the nights you stayed faithful without applause, the moments you chose restraint over reaction, the times you waited when walking away would have been easier. This is not a random invitation. This is a response to your consistency. Permanence is reward for those who did not quit when quitting felt justified. Archangel Michael stands at the threshold now, not to intimidate, but to witness your decision. Angels record alignment. When you agree inwardly with God's direction, even before you understand it fully, heaven writes it as covenant. That is why this moment feels final, because it is being recorded. You may notice that distractions are increasing. Small interruptions, sudden tiredness, random doubts that do not match your progress. This is not coincidence. This is the last attempt of the old pattern to keep relevance. But it has no authority here. Authority has shifted. The only permission it has is what you give it through hesitation. Beloved one, do not confuse peace with passivity. Peace is strength at rest. Archangel Michael says, when peace arrives before understanding, it is confirmation. God does not calm you to confuse you. He calms you to prepare you. The quiet you feel now is not emptiness. It is space being cleared for something that will not need to be defended. Now hear this truth. Permanence also means separation. Some people will not recognize you in the next season, not because you change incorrectly, but because you finally stabilize correctly. Unstable connections cannot survive around stable callings. This is not punishment. This is order. Archangel Michael reminds you that heaven is not asking you to be fearless. He is asking you to be faithful. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is obedience that moves anyway. The 1111 alignment does not require confidence. It requires consent. If this message is stirring something deep within you, this is not accidental. Type I receive the alignment in the comments if your spirit is agreeing with what is being released. Blessing code 1111 has now been activated over those who respond in faith. Now hear this next part carefully, because this is where heaven invites partnership. This message is not meant to stop with you. God's word moves like seed, and seed only multiplies when it is sown. As I speak to you, I feel the Lord saying in His word, "What you place in my hand, I will breathe on and multiply." This is not a verse on a page. This is God speaking directly to this moment. I am speaking to those whose hearts are burning to help others cross their own thresholds. When you support this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, you are not funding a channel, you are fueling revelation. You are turning on light in places that are still dim. Your giving becomes oil, and that oil keeps the lamp burning for souls who are searching late at night, just like you were. This message itself speaks of permanence, and your support is a prophetic act that locks this work into place. I hear the Spirit saying that those who sow here are stepping into open heavens, because they are responding quickly when God speaks. Do not delay what heaven is prompting now. Obedience has timing, and timing carries reward. I release a blessing over every giver right now. May what you place in God's hand return to you pressed down, settled, and secured. Let clarity increase, let provision stabilize, and let peace become permanent in your life. Support the work now. You Super Thanks, step into membership, or give through PayPal using the link in the description. Do it as an act of obedience, not emotion. Heaven is watching agreement. Beloved child, now that the alignment has been acknowledged, Archangel Michael turns your attention to what follows agreement, because heaven never reveals without also preparing. What God is sealing does not require striving, but it does require awareness. The danger in permanent shifts is not resistance, it is carelessness after confirmation. This is why this message continues. Not to alarm you, but to steady you. Archangel Michael says the next phase will feel deceptively normal. Days will look the same on the surface. Routines may not change immediately. Conversations may sound familiar. This is intentional. God often hides transformation inside ordinary moments so that only the aligned recognize it. If everything changed outwardly at once, you might depend on circumstances instead of discernment. You must understand this clearly. Permanence begins invisibly. Before anything is established publicly, it is anchored privately. What is being fixed now is your spiritual footing. God is adjusting how you respond, how you decide, how you perceive. These internal calibrations matter more than external movement. A misaligned reaction can delay what an aligned decision would accelerate. Archangel Michael is urging you to guard your inner atmosphere. Not every thought deserves your attention. Not every emotion deserves your agreement. The enemy does not need to stop what God is doing. He only needs to distract you long enough for you to step out of position. This is not about fear. This is about focus. Beloved one, this season will require fewer words and more listening. God will speak in impressions, not instructions. He will nudge rather than explain. You may feel drawn to pause before responding, to wait before committing, to reconsider before agreeing. This hesitation is not doubt. It is discernment sharpening. Honor it. There will be moments when you are tempted to explain yourself prematurely. Resist that urge. What God is making permanent does not need justification. Explanation invites opinion, and opinion invites interference. Archangel Michael says silence is not weakness here. It is protection. Let outcomes speak louder than intentions. You may also notice that some people suddenly become curious about your life. Questions may surface. Interest may rise. This is because stability attracts attention. But not all attention is assignment. Be selective with access. Just because someone wants to understand does not mean they are meant to be involved. Archangel Michael reminds you that Jesus himself often withdrew after revelation. Not because he was afraid, but because clarity requires space. Follow the pattern. Do not overexpose what is still rooting. Seeds grow best underground. Beloved child, another shift is coming internally. Your tolerance for confusion will drop sharply. Situations that once lingered unresolved will now demand clarity. You will feel an urgency to close loops, finish conversations, resolve lingering matters. This is heaven clearing residue. Permanence cannot settle where there is unfinished business. Do not rush this process, but do not ignore it either. Address what rises gently and honestly. Closure is not confrontation. Sometimes it is simply acceptance. Archangel Michael says peace often arrives after you stop trying to rewrite what God has already concluded. You may also experience a strengthening of boundaries. Saying no will feel easier. Saying yes will feel weightier. This is not hardness. This is maturity. God is teaching you to honor your capacity. Overextension is no longer permitted where permanence is concerned. Beloved one, pay attention to your rest. Fatigue can blur discernment. Heaven's pace is sustainable. If you feel constantly drained, something is misaligned. Archangel Michael says divine assignments do not consume. They stabilize. Adjust accordingly. Another sign of this shift will be reduced urgency to be seen. Validation will matter less. Approval will feel optional. This is a clear indicator that identity is settling. When identity is anchored, performance relaxes. You no longer need to prove what God has already confirmed. There may be moments when the quiet feels uncomfortable, when nothing dramatic happens and your mind searches for stimulation. Do not fill that space unnecessarily. Stillness is not emptiness. It is where God finalizes details. Archangel Michael wants you to know that permanence does not mean stagnation. It means direction without deviation. Growth will continue, but it will be consistent rather than chaotic. You will move forward without constantly starting over. If you feel an urge to review your habits, your environment, your daily rhythms, honor that. Small adjustments now prevent major disruptions later. Heaven often asks for refinement before expansion. Beloved child, this part of the journey is about stewardship. What God is entrusting must be maintained with intention. Watch what you consume, what you entertain, what you tolerate. Alignment is not fragile, but it is responsive. Treat it with respect. As this settles, you will begin to sense what is next without being told explicitly. Desire will align with direction. Opportunity will meet readiness. And when movement comes, it will feel natural, not forced. Stay steady. Stay inwardly attentive. What unfolds next will confirm that what is being established now was worth the quiet discipline it required. Beloved one, Archangel Michael now draws your attention to the subtle confirmations that begin to appear once alignment is secured, because heaven never leaves obedience without witness. These confirmations will not come as dramatic signs, but as quiet consistencies. Things will start to work without force. Delays that once frustrated you will dissolve without explanation. What used to require effort will begin to flow with ease. This is not coincidence. This is permanence taking hold. You may notice that decisions feel clearer now. Not because you have more information, but because confusion no longer has authority. When God fixes direction, clarity becomes your default state. Archangel Michael says this is how you know you are standing correctly. You are no longer constantly questioning your next step. You are simply taking it. Beloved child, there is a reason heaven waited until now to stabilize you. The next phase requires discernment without distraction. Where you are going, reaction would be costly. God is refining your response so that you do not move prematurely or stay too long. Timing is everything, and timing requires inner quiet. Another sign of this shift is emotional steadiness. Situations that once triggered anxiety or urgency will now pass through you without attachment. This does not mean you care less. It means you are no longer controlled by outcomes. Permanence produces composure. Archangel Michael says composure is authority in motion. You may also feel an increased sensitivity to truth. Half answers will irritate you. Vague commitments will feel heavy. You will crave sincerity, not perfection. This is heaven training you to recognize alignment quickly. Where clarity is missing, permission is missing too. Beloved one, be aware that not everyone will celebrate your stability. Some will feel unsettled by it. When chaos leaves your life, it exposes where others are still comfortable with it. This is not your responsibility to fix. Do not dim your peace to soothe someone else's disorder. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that permanence does not isolate you, but it does filter your environment. Conversations will become more purposeful. Time will feel more valuable. You will become less available to what drains and more present for what builds. This is not selfishness. This is stewardship. There may be moments when nostalgia surfaces. Memories of old seasons. Familiar patterns. Comfortable habits. This is normal. But do not confuse familiarity with calling. What feels familiar is not always what is faithful. Honor the past without returning to it. Beloved child, heaven is also adjusting how you perceive success. Success will no longer be defined by speed or visibility. It will be defined by sustainability. God is more interested in what lasts than what impresses. This is why the current work feels slow but steady. Permanence requires patience. You may feel prompted to simplify, to remove clutter, to streamline commitments, to clear mental space. Follow these nudges. Simplicity creates room for precision. Resilience supports permanence. Archangel Michael says clutter is not sin, but it is distraction. Another internal shift will be your relationship with time. Urgency will be replaced by awareness. You will sense when to act and when to wait without stress. This is not passivity. This is rhythm. Heaven moves in rhythm, not rush. Beloved one, you are also being trained to recognize divine restraint. Sometimes the most spiritual response is not to act immediately. Waiting can be obedience when it is directed by peace. Archangel Michael reminds you that restraint is power under control. As this season continues, you will feel less need to announce your plans. Privacy will feel sacred, not because you are hiding, but because what is forming does not need external affirmation. Guard what is holy until it is ready to be revealed. You may encounter opportunities that look good but feel off. Trust that sensation. Permanence requires discernment more than enthusiasm. Not every open door is yours to walk through. Some doors open to test your alignment, not to invite your participation. Beloved child, listen closely. The next movements in your life will not come from pressure. They will come from peace. If something demands urgency without clarity, pause. Heaven does not push. It positions. Archangel Michael assures you that what God is building will not require constant maintenance through anxiety. Once set, it will hold. Your role is not to manage outcomes, but to remain aligned. As this settles, gratitude will rise naturally. Not because everything is perfect, but because stability feels like relief. Let gratitude anchor you. It keeps perspective clear and heart soft. You are entering a season where consistency will outweigh intensity. Small, faithful steps will carry more weight than dramatic gestures. Honor the ordinary. That is where permanence lives. Stay grounded. Stay responsive. What unfolds next will reveal how deeply this alignment has already begun to shape your future. Beloved child, Archangel Michael now speaks about momentum, because once permanence begins to settle, movement follows in a very different way than before. This movement will not feel rushed, and it will not feel forced. It will feel intentional. You will notice that things no longer pile up all at once. Instead, one clear step will appear, and as you take it, the next will quietly reveal itself. This is heaven's order replacing chaos. There is a reason God did not accelerate you earlier. Speed without stability would have fractured what he is now securing. Archangel Michael says many people ask God for advancement, but few ask him for endurance. What you are entering requires endurance more than excitement. This is not a sprint season. This is a sustained walk where consistency matters more than intensity. Beloved one, you may feel a renewed sense of responsibility rising within you. Not pressure, but ownership. You will care more deeply about how you steward your words, your time, and your energy. Carelessness will feel uncomfortable. This is a sign of maturity, not heaviness. When God trusts you with permanence, he sharpens your awareness. Another shift you will notice is discernment in speech. You will speak less, but your words will carry more weight. You will stop explaining yourself to those who are not assigned to understand you. Silence will become a form of wisdom. Archangel Michael says when authority settles, it no longer needs to announce itself. Beloved child, expect refinement in your daily rhythms. Sleep patterns may change. Focus may sharpen. Distractions that once pulled you easily will lose their grip. This is not discipline imposed from outside. This is order forming from within. Heaven is teaching your body and mind to cooperate with your spirit. You may also find that certain environments no longer feel comfortable. Places you once enjoyed may now feel draining. This is not judgment. It is sensitivity and grace. Permanence heightens awareness. You are not meant to force yourself to fit where alignment is absent. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that this season will also reveal who is truly supportive of your growth. Some will celebrate quietly. Others will distance silently. Both responses give clarity. Do not chase explanations. Let alignment speak for itself. Beloved one, this is also a season where obedience will often look ordinary. There will be no dramatic confirmations every time you do the right thing. Faithfulness will feel simple, repetitive, even unnoticed. But heaven records consistency. What feels small now will later be recognized as foundational. Now hear this gently. If this message is strengthening you, if it is bringing clarity and steadiness, you not keep it to yourself. When you like this video, when you share it, when you comment, you are participating in the spread of alignment. These actions are not small. They help this word reach others who are quietly struggling to understand what they are sensing. Subscribe to this space and stay connected, because messages like this are released with timing, not frequency. Being part of this community keeps you aligned with what heaven is unfolding next. Your engagement signals that you are attentive and present, not passive. And pause for a moment here. Hold on, because what follows will bring deeper clarity about why certain doors closed and why others are about to open in a way you did not expect. This is where the picture becomes sharper. Beloved child, Archangel Michael now addresses disappointment from past seasons. Some things did not work out the way you hoped. Some prayers seemed unanswered. Understand this. Delay was not denial. It was protection. What you wanted earlier would not have survived the weight of permanence. God waited until you could carry it without breaking. You may begin to reinterpret your past differently now. Regrets will lose their sting. Mistakes will become lessons rather than labels. This is healing through understanding. Permanence heals by recontextualizing what once hurt. Archangel Michael says the next opportunities that come will not demand compromise. If something requires you to shrink, rush, or silence your values, it is not aligned. The right doors will feel firm, not frantic. They will invite you to stand taller, not bend lower. Beloved one, trust the steadiness you feel. It is not boredom. It is balance. The nervous energy of survival mode is leaving. In its place comes clarity and confidence that does not need constant reassurance. There may be moments when you miss the intensity of past seasons. Intensity can feel meaningful, even when it was exhausting. But understand this truth. Peace is not the absence of purpose. It is the confirmation of placement. Archangel Michael reminds you that heaven is not impressed by struggle. He is honored by obedience. You do not need to prove your faith through hardship anymore. Faith is now expressed through consistency, integrity, and trust. As this part closes, remain attentive. What is coming next will explain why this alignment required such quiet preparation and why the permanence being formed now will outlast what once seemed so powerful. Beloved child, Archangel Michael now speaks to the deeper transformation that begins once momentum stabilizes, because permanence does not only change what happens around you, it reshapes who you are becoming within. This is the part many do not talk about, because it happens quietly and cannot be measured outwardly at first. Yet this internal shift determines how well you will steward what God is anchoring in your life. You may notice that your reactions are slower, more thoughtful. Where you once responded immediately, you now pause. This pause is not hesitation, it is discernment maturing. Heaven is teaching you to respond from alignment rather than emotion. Archangel Michael says this pause is holy ground. It is where wisdom has time to surface. Beloved one, another change will be your relationship with conflict. You will feel less compelled to correct, confront, or convince. Not because truth matters less, but because peace matters more. You are learning when to speak and when silence carries greater authority. Permanence does not argue for its place. It stands until others adjust. You may also sense a growing discomfort with inconsistency. Saying one thing and doing another will feel heavier than before. This is integrity being refined. God is aligning your inner convictions with your outer actions. What you agree with internally will increasingly be reflected externally. This is how stability forms. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that this refinement is preparation for influence, not isolation. Influence without integrity collapses under pressure. God is ensuring that when your voice carries weight, it will be supported by character, not charisma. Beloved child, you may feel an increasing desire for depth over volume. Shallow conversations will feel draining. Surface-level commitments will feel unsatisfying. You will crave meaning, truth, and substance. This is not judgment toward others. It is hunger for what nourishes your spirit. Another internal adjustment will be your tolerance for delay. Previously, waiting may have felt like punishment. Now, waiting will feel purposeful. You will sense that timing is working with you, not against you. This trust in timing is a sign that fear is loosening its grip. Archangel Michael says fear thrives in uncertainty, but permanence reduces uncertainty. You may not know every detail, but you will know enough to move forward without panic. This is confidence rooted in God, not circumstance. Beloved one, be mindful of how you speak about yourself in this season. Words carry creative power, especially now. Self-criticism will feel harsher than before. This is not condemnation, it is correction. Heaven is inviting you to align your speech with how God sees you. Speak stability over yourself, not struggle. You may also notice that old coping mechanisms no longer work. Distractions that once numbed discomfort will feel ineffective. This is intentional. God is removing substitutes so that you learn to rest in truth rather than escape from tension. True rest comes from trust, not avoidance. Archangel Michael reminds you that permanence requires presence. Being fully present in moments, conversations, and decisions anchors you in reality. Rushing ahead mentally or replaying the past emotionally pulls you out of alignment. Stay where your feet are. Heaven moves in the now. Beloved child, this season will also redefine strength for you. Strength will no longer mean pushing through at all costs. It will mean knowing when to stop, when to ask for help, and when to release what you cannot carry. Humility will feel empowering, not diminishing. There may be moments when you feel unseen in your growth. Others may not notice the changes you are making internally. That is okay. God sees what is being established. Heaven celebrates roots before fruit. Archangel Michael says comparison will lose its appeal now. You will feel less interested in measuring your progress against others. This is freedom. Your journey is becoming clearly defined, and comparison would only blur its direction. Beloved one, another sign of this shift is gratitude for simplicity. Simple joys will feel richer. Ordinary moments will feel sacred. This is awareness expanding. Permanence heightens appreciation because nothing feels temporary anymore. You may feel drawn to prayer or reflection in quieter ways. Less asking, more listening. Less urgency, more communion. This is intimacy deepening. God is not always speaking to instruct. Sometimes he is simply present to assure. Archangel Michael encourages you to honor this intimacy. Do not rush through it. It is strengthening you for what will eventually require spiritual stamina. As this part settles, trust that even when nothing dramatic is happening, something meaningful is still forming. Growth is not always visible. Alignment often looks like stillness before expansion. Remain steady. Remain attentive. The next unfolding will reveal how this internal transformation prepares you to carry what is coming without losing yourself in the process. My beloved child, Archangel Michael now speaks from a place of sealing, because what has been forming quietly is ready to be acknowledged spiritually. This is not the end of the journey, but it is a decisive marker along the way. Heaven marks moments not by noise, but by agreement. And right now, agreement is being witnessed. You may feel a deep sense of knowing settling in your spirit. Not excitement, not fear, but certainty. His certainty does not shout. He rests. It does not need constant reassurance. It simply stands. Archangel Michael says this is how you know permanence has taken root. What once felt fragile now feels grounded. What once felt uncertain now feels established. Beloved one, the reason God allowed this process to take time is because what lasts must be layered. Nothing eternal is rushed. Each phase you walk through was not delay but reinforcement. God was strengthening you in places you did not realize were weak, so that when weight arrived, you would not buckle under it. There is something important happening now. Your discernment is no longer reactive. It is proactive. You sense things before they fully form. You notice shifts before they surface. This is not intuition alone. This is spiritual alignment sharpening perception. Archangel Michael says when alignment stabilizes, foresight increases. You may notice that you are no longer chasing clarity. Clarity is coming to you. Answers arrive naturally, often without effort. This is because confusion has lost its footing. Permanence does not coexist with chaos. One displaces the other. Beloved child, understand this clearly. You are not becoming someone new. You are becoming someone consistent. Consistency is what heaven trusts. Charisma can open doors, but consistency keeps them open. God is anchoring you so that you are reliable in spirit, not just passionate in moments. There may still be unanswered questions, but they no longer disturb your peace. You trust that understanding will arrive when needed. This trust is not passive. It is rooted. Archangel Michael says trust is the fruit of alignment. You might also sense a separation from urgency-driven decisions. You are no longer moved by pressure, timelines imposed by others, or fear of missing out. What is yours will not bypass you. Permanence attracts what belongs and repels what does not. Beloved one, this season is also teaching you reverence. Reverence for your calling. Reverence for your time. Reverence for God's process. Casual handling of sacred things will no longer feel comfortable. This is maturity, not rigidity. Archangel Michael wants you to know that heaven is pleased with your steadiness. You did not demand quick answers. You did not abandon the process when it became quiet. That faithfulness hath been noted. Now hear this deeply. The permanence being established in your life is not only for you. Others will draw strength from your stability. Your consistency will become a safe place for those who are still searching. This is influence formed through integrity. If this message is resonating in your spirit, if you feel this confirmation settling deeply, type "I stand aligned" in the comments right now. Blessing code 4488 is being released over those who respond with agreement. This is a spiritual seal of stability and clarity. And now listen carefully, because this moment also carries a sacred invitation. As this word settles into permanence, the Spirit is inviting those who are aligned to become partners in spreading it. This message is not entertainment. It is light. And light must be carried intentionally to reach those still walking in shadows. I hear the Lord saying, "Those who sow into my word will never lack clarity." When you support this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, you are sowing into revelation. You are turning on lamps in the night for souls who are searching for direction, just as you once were. This message speaks of permanence, and your support is a prophetic response that helps establish this work beyond moments and into lasting impact. Your giving becomes seed, and that seed produces harvest in lives you may never meet, but heaven records everyone. This is not about obligation. This is about obedience. When God stirs your heart to act, timing matters. Do not delay what the Spirit is prompting now. Link for PayPal is in the description. Super thanks and membership are open right here. Step forward as an act of alignment. I speak blessing over every giver. May stability increase in your life. May peace become your portion. May provision align effortlessly. What you support, God will sustain in you. Remain attentive. What unfolds next will reveal how this permanence begins to express itself outwardly in ways that confirm everything you have sensed inwardly. Beloved child, Archangel Michael now turns your focus outward, because what has been sealed within you will begin to express itself through your environment. Inner permanence always seeks external order. This is where many become confused, because they expect sudden breakthroughs, but heaven works through rearrangement first. God adjusts surroundings to match what has already been settled in your spirit. You may begin to notice subtle shifts in circumstances, not dramatic changes, but quiet reordering. Schedules adjust, opportunities reposition, conversations surface at the right moment. Things align without strain. This is not luck. This is structure responding to alignment. When inner stability is established, outer life follows its lead. Beloved one, Archangel Michael says this phase is about integration. What you believe, how you live, and what you pursue are coming into agreement. Fragmentation is ending. You will no longer feel pulled in opposite directions. Decisions will feel cleaner because they will come from a unified place within you. There may be moments when you feel exposed, not in a negative way, but in a clarifying way. Asks will feel uncomfortable. Pretense will feel heavy. You will desire authenticity, even if it costs convenience. This is not vulnerability for attention. This is truth becoming non-negotiable. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that permanence invites responsibility. Not pressure, but stewardship. You will feel accountable for what you carry now. Words will matter more. Choices will carry more weight. This is because God trusts you with influence, even if it is not yet visible to others. You may also notice that problems are resolved differently now. Instead of escalating, they dissolve. Instead of expanding, they shrink. Instead of repeating, they conclude. This is not avoidance. This is wisdom preventing unnecessary cycles. Permanence closes loops that once kept reopening. Beloved child, this is also the phase where patience is refined. Not the patience of waiting, but the patience of consistency. Doing the right thing repeatedly, without needing constant affirmation. Showing up without applause. Remaining faithful without urgency. Heaven values this kind of patience deeply. There may be a temptation to rush ahead now that things feel stable. Resist that urge. Stability is not a signal to accelerate. It is a foundation to build on carefully. Archangel Michael says haste can undo what patience secured. Move steadily, not impulsively. Another shift you may notice is discernment and opportunity. Many good options may present themselves. Not all are yours. Permanence does not mean availability to everything. It means commitment to what aligns. Learn to say no without guilt and yes without fear. Beloved one, watch how your prayer life evolves. It may become simpler, quieter, more conversational. Less asking, more aligning. Less striving, more surrender. This is intimacy maturing. God is not distant in this season. He is near and attentive. Archangel Michael reminds you that doubt may still try to surface occasionally. This does not mean alignment is failing. It means the mind is adjusting to a new normal. Do not entertain doubt. Acknowledge it, then return to peace. Peace is now your compass. You may also experience moments of stillness that feel unusually deep. Time may feel slower. Awareness may feel sharper. These moments are not empty. They are integration points where heaven and earth synchronize within you. Honor them. Beloved child, relationships will continue to clarify. Some connections will deepen naturally. Others will fade without conflict. Let this happen without forcing outcomes. Permanence does not cling. It allows what belongs to remain and what does not to exit peacefully. There may be moments when you feel misunderstood. Not because you are unclear, but because others are interpreting you through old versions of you. Do not correct this prematurely. Let time reveal consistency. Consistency changes perception more effectively than explanation. Archangel Michael says this is also the season where gratitude protects alignment. Gratitude keeps your heart open without making you vulnerable to distraction. Notice what is working. Appreciate what is steady. Give thanks for what is settled. Beloved one, remember that permanence is not the absence of challenge. It is the presence of resilience. Challenges may still come, but they will no longer define you. They will pass through rather than settle in. You are learning to live from a place of anchored confidence, not arrogance, not passivity. Confidence rooted in knowing where you stand. This is spiritual adulthood. As this part settles, trust that what feels ordinary now is actually extraordinary in its stability. Many search for excitement, but few experience peace that lasts. What God is giving you now will sustain you long after momentary thrills fade. Remain present. Remain grounded. The next unfolding will reveal how this permanence begins to influence others and why your steadiness will become a reference point for those still searching for solid ground. Beloved child, Archangel Michael now speaks about responsibility and motion because permanence is not static. Once stability is established, it begins to move outward with purpose. This is where many misunderstand God's work. They think stability means rest alone, but stability actually enables effective movement. What God has anchored in you is now meant to flow through you. You may sense a renewed clarity about what matters and what no longer deserves your energy. This is not detachment from life. It is focus being refined. Archangel Michael says distraction loses its power when purpose becomes clear. You will no longer feel scattered, pulled in many directions, or overwhelmed by competing demands. Direction is narrowing, and that narrowing is a gift. Beloved one, this phase requires attentiveness. Opportunities will appear that look ordinary, but carry weight. Conversations may seem casual, but hold significance. Heaven often hides assignments inside simplicity. Pay attention to what repeats gently, not forcefully. Repetition is a signal of relevance. You may also notice that your confidence is quieter now. You do not need to announce what you know. You simply act from it. This is authority settling into behavior, not posture. Archangel Michael says true authority does not seek recognition. It produces results. Another shift will be your relationship with effort. You will still work, still show discipline, still invest energy, but it will feel cleaner. Less resistance, less internal negotiation. Effort aligned with purpose feels lighter, even when the task is significant. Beloved child, heaven is also teaching you discernment in commitment. Overcommitting will feel draining now. You will sense when something asks too much of you without returning alignment. Learn to honor that signal. Saying no is sometimes the most faithful response. There may be moments when you reflect on how far you have come and feel surprised by the calm you carry. Situations that once would have unsettled you no longer do. This is growth becoming natural. Archangel Michael says when peace becomes normal, fear loses its influence. You might also feel an increased desire to protect your time. This is not selfishness. Time is now connected to stewardship. God values how you invest your hours because they shape your focus. Be intentional with where you place your attention. Beloved one, this is also a season where clarity must be maintained. Alignment can be disrupted by complacency. Do not assume stability means automatic success. Remain engaged. Remain prayerful. Remain aware. Consistency sustains what breakthrough introduces. Now pause with me for a moment. If this message has been grounding you, strengthening you, and bringing clarity to what you have been sensing, let your engagement reflect that agreement. When you like this video, when you comment, when you share it with someone who needs steady truth, you are not just interacting, you are amplifying alignment. Subscribe to this channel and stay connected, because words like this are released with intention and timing. Being part of this space keeps you positioned to hear what heaven is revealing next. Your presence matters here. And stay with this message, because what follows connects the responsibility you are carrying now with the influence that is about to emerge. This is where many finally understand why the preparation had to be so precise. Beloved child, Archangel Michael wants you to know that influence does not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes influence is recognized through consistency over time. People will begin to trust your steadiness. They will seek your perspective. They will notice your restraint. This is not accidental. Stability attracts trust. You may find yourself becoming a reference point for others. Not because you have all the answers, but because you are anchored. In a world of constant change, anchored people stand out. This is how light works. It does not chase darkness. It remains visible. Beloved one, do not underestimate the impact of your calm presence. Peace carried consistently speaks louder than words spoken occasionally. Archangel Michael says many battles are diffused simply because you did not react the way you used to. There may be moments when responsibility feels weighty. When you realize others are watching how you respond, how you decide, how you remain steady. Do not let this intimidate you. God does not place weight without also providing strength. Remember, you are not responsible for outcomes. You are responsible for alignment. Leave results in God's hands. Permanence grows best when pressure is released. As this part settles, trust that what feels like routine now is actually preparation in motion. Heaven often uses ordinary faithfulness to produce extraordinary impact. Remain steady. Remain responsive. The final unfoldings ahead will reveal how this journey concludes and why every quiet adjustment along the way was necessary for what God is about to complete. Beloved child, Archangel Michael now speaks with a tone of completion drawing near, because what has been built through alignment, discipline, and quiet obedience is approaching its visible confirmation. This is not an ending of purpose, but a sealing of process. Many do not recognize this phase because it does not come with fireworks. It comes with assurance. A deep, settled knowing that nothing essential is missing anymore. You may notice that striving has almost completely disappeared. You still act, you still move, you still plan, but the inner tension that once drove you is gone. This is not loss of ambition. This is ambition purified. When God completes an inner work, He removes the anxiety that once accompanied desire. What remains is intention without pressure. Beloved one, Archangel Michael says this is the stage where heaven observes how you carry peace. Peace is no longer something you seek. It is something you steward. You will be tested not by chaos but by comfort. By moments where it would be easy to drift, to disengage, to become casual. Do not mistake calm for completion. Stay attentive even in rest. You may feel less reactive to news, opinions, or external shifts. Things that once disturbed you now pass by without attaching. This does not mean you are disconnected. It means you are anchored. Permanence has changed your center of gravity. You are no longer pulled by every movement around you. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that this phase is about trust being proven. God trusts you with stability now. He is watching how you manage clarity, not confusion. Many remain faithful when desperate, but few remain faithful when settled. This is a higher form of obedience. Beloved child, there may be moments where silence from heaven feels longer than before. Do not misinterpret this. Silence now does not mean absence. It means confidence. God is not micromanaging what He has already aligned. He trusts the work He has done in you. You may also notice that your prayers feel different. They are less about asking and more about agreement. Less about rescue and more about partnership. This is maturity. Prayer becomes communion when fear leaves the conversation. Archangel Michael says your spiritual senses are now calibrated. You will recognize subtle warnings without panic and gentle invitations without force. Pay attention to what brings quiet joy. Pay attention to what brings subtle resistance. These cues will guide you without drama. Beloved one, this is also the season where legacy thinking begins to surface. You will care more about what outlasts you than what impresses temporarily. Your choices will reflect long-term impact rather than short-term relief. You may feel drawn to protect what you have built. Not defensively but wisely. Boundaries will feel natural, not forced. You will know when to engage and when to withdraw without guilt. This discernment is a fruit of permanence. Archangel Michael wants you to release the last traces of self-doubt. They no longer serve a purpose. Doubt was once a signal to seek God. Now peace is the signal to trust Him. Do not revisit old insecurities for familiarity. You have outgrown them. Beloved child, you may encounter moments where the old version of you is remembered by others. They may reference past reactions, past struggles, past limitations. Do not correct them harshly. Let your present consistency quietly rewrite their memory. Another sign of this phase is emotional resilience. Disappointment will no longer derail you. Success will no longer inflate you. You will remain centered regardless of outcome. This balance is rare, and it is precious. Archangel Michael says this is where heaven smiles quietly. Not because everything is perfect, but because you are positioned. Positioned to receive without losing humility. Positioned to lead without controlling. Positioned to stand without striving. You may feel an inner release happening now. A letting go of the need to monitor everything. A trust that God truly has you. This release is not carelessness. It is surrender refined by experience. Beloved one, honor this release. Do not rush past it. It is the final adjustment before completion. Like a craftsman stepping back to ensure everything is balanced before sealing the work. There may be fewer words coming now, but more meaning behind them. Fewer instructions, but more clarity in action. This is how you know the work is almost done. Archangel Michael assures you that what God is about to finalize will not require explanation. Others will see it. You will feel it. And heaven will recognize it as finished. Stay present. Stay grounded. The final message will seal what has been built and release what God has been preparing to establish permanently in your life. My beloved child, Archangel Michael now speaks the final sealing word, because what heaven began quietly is now complete in spirit. This is not an ending that feels abrupt. It is an ending that feels settled. The kind that does not rush, does not prove, and does not love back. What God permitted to form before midnight has now crossed fully into permanence. You may feel a deep stillness inside you as this message lands. Not emptiness, but fullness. Not silence, but completion. This is how heaven concludes a work. There is no strain left, no unfinished tension pulling at you. What needed to shift has shifted. What needed to align has aligned. What needed to close has closed. Archangel Michael says this permanence will now govern your next chapters. Not forcefully, but faithfully. You will notice that life begins to respond to you differently. Resistance decreases. Clarity increases. The same situations may appear, but you will not meet them as the same person. You are anchored now. Beloved one, understand this truth clearly. What God has sealed cannot be undone by distraction, opinion, delay, or fear. It is no longer fragile. It does not depend on constant effort. It rests on agreement that has already been established between you and heaven. You may still face moments of uncertainty, but they will not destabilize you. You may still face decisions, but they will not overwhelm you. You may still face challenges, but they will not define you. Permanence does not remove life's movement. It removes life's confusion. Archangel Michael wants you to know that the quiet way this unfolded was intentional. God did not want you to depend on signs that fade. He wanted you to depend on truth that stays. That is why this work happened internally first. That is why it could not be rushed. Beloved child, there is no need to search for what is next anxiously. What is next will come to you in order, at the right pace, without pressure. You are no longer chasing direction. Direction is walking with you. This is also the moment where gratitude becomes your posture. Not because everything is perfect, but because everything is placed. When things are placed correctly, peace follows naturally. Let gratitude anchor you here. Archangel Michael reminds you that permanence also carries authority. Authority to say no without guilt. Authority to say yes without fear. Authority to walk away without regret. Authority to stay without doubt. This authority does not need to be defended. It simply operates. You may notice that people respond to you differently now. Some will feel drawn to your steadiness. Others may feel uncomfortable around it. This is not your burden to manage. Stability reveals truth in others without you saying a word. Beloved one, the season of over-explaining is over. The season of proving is over. The season of asking if you are allowed to stand firm is over. Heaven has already answered that. Archangel Michael says the 1111 portal is now closed behind you, not to trap you, but to protect you. What was meant to cost has cost. What was not meant to follow hath been left behind. If this final word has settled deeply in your spirit, type IT is sealed in the comments as an act of agreement. Blessing code 9090 is now released over those who respond in faith. This is a sealing number for completion, stability, and peace. As this message reaches its conclusion, the Spirit is calling those who have received clarity to help carry it forward. God's word does not end with one listener. It multiplies through willing hands. When you support this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, you are not giving to content. You are sowing into permanence for others who are still standing at their threshold. I hear the Lord saying, what you place into my work, I will establish in your life. Your support becomes seed, and that seed releases light, understanding, and direction for souls who are searching quietly, just as you once were. This message spoke of something permanent being established, and your giving is a prophetic act that helps this work remain stable, consistent, and available. Do not hesitate if the Spirit is prompting you. Obedience always carries timing. I speak blessing over every supporter now. May peace remain settled in your home. May clarity guard your decisions. May provision flow without strain. What you help sustain, God will secure for you. Support now through Super Thanks. Step into membership, or give through PayPal using the link in the description. Do it as obedience, not emotion. Heaven honors alignment. This word is complete. What God has sealed will stand.